Hello and thank you for joining us on Newsweek, where we highlight some of the biggest stories that made the headlines recently. I am Jacinta Agochukwu. This week, President Tinubu addresses United Nations General Assembly, advocates sanctions against extremism and proliferation. Also this week, Kano Tribunal sacks Governor Yusuf, declares APC winner. Later on the show, fans hold candlelight procession for Mohbad as police conduct autopsy on his corpse. All the details in a moment. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Earlier in the week, President Bola Tinubu addressed world leaders at the 78th United Nations General Assembly in New York City. He made the declaration that the time is now for UN member states to show with their actions that they mean what they say concerning the crackdown on terror financing, economic sabotage, and illicit mineral arms smuggling in the developing world. President Tinubu further noted that his aggressive economic development diplomatic push for new investment has been effective in presenting Nigeria as business ready. I have joining me to discuss this Adams Abono, a political analyst. He's joining me from Abuja. And also Yinka is to join me, Folarin, National Secretary Committee for the Defense of Human Rights. He's to join me as well via Zoom. Let me start with you. Good evening, Mr. Adams.
Jacinta, good evening, viewers.
All right, let's start up already. The president wants global leaders to mount crackdown on terror financing and arms smuggling. Let's have your take on how feasible this is.
Yeah, overall, President Tinubu's participation at the recently concluded United Nations General Assembly was a period, a moment where Africans can now say, yes, we have a rallying point. The president made points for Africa, and then particularly the issue of terrorist financing, arms proliferation that were captured in his very captivating speech are phenomenal. They are timely because, you know, Africa has been a hotbed of terrorism, from Al-Qaeda's incursion to the infiltration of Al-Qaeda into the Boko Haram, the Sahel, Savannah, and the northern part of Nigeria, you know, to certain pockets of terrorist activities elsewhere in Africa. If the issue of, terrorist financing is not addressed, it would have a very negative impact in whatever development aspirations that Africa as a continent aspires towards, and then globally, because what affects Africa affects the entire world. So the president, the Nigerian president, Bola Tinubu, he captured, the view of majority of people of the world. He captured global attention when he mentioned that a stringent measures should be taken against terrorist financing. If the financing of terrorist activities are limited to the barest minimum, then you could be very sure that terrorism wouldn't flourish in Africa and elsewhere around the world. So the president was apt when he said measures should be taken to reduce significantly terrorist financing in Africa and around the world. Thank you.
Right. Another thing the president spoke about is the economic diplomacy, where he said Nigeria is now ready for business. I want to ask you, how impactful is this approach on our economy?
Yeah, the President, expectedly, he would market Nigeria at every given opportunity, which he did at the UNGA, at the United Nations General Assembly. The president was seen as the chief marketer of Nigeria, and he did so, and saying emphatically that Nigeria is ready for business is telling the entire world that the giant of Africa, the largest economy within the black race, is a ready market for different products, for different services. You know, since the assumption of office of this present administration, there have been calculated, you know, measures towards increasing the ease of doing business in Nigeria. We have seen the minister, the coordinating minister of the economy, Wale Edom, he has spoken at different fora why Nigeria is a ready market. And the president, the UN General Assembly is about the most important gathering of world leaders any time around the world. So it is about the best place to market Nigeria. And we could see, you know, we go around, we feel what people go through, and we can see that certain aspects of the economy are being liberalized to encourage the ease of doing business. We have seen where there are, conscious steps taken to, you know, forestall insecurity, and then, you know, the certain bottlenecks that makes doing business in Nigeria difficult. So the president is being about reducing some of these things that hamper the ease of doing business. So it is, time enough to tell the world that Nigeria is a ready market. Nigeria is an available market. We have a robust population. You know, with the technology, the shift towards technology is extensive. So it is clear, and I agree with President Tinubu and majority of Nigerians too, and even watchers of, interested parties around the world would agree that it is time enough to come to Nigeria to do business, you know, because whatever it was that has hampered doing business in Nigeria is being tackled. Thank you.
Right, and yes, let's also talk about the several interesting outing at international event that the president has made from ECOWAS, AU, G20, and now the UN. How would you rate all of this outing so far?
Well, on a scale of 6 to 10, I would begin with the recent participation at the United Nations General Assembly. On a scale of 6 to 10, I would give President Tinubu, 8 over 10. He is not there all through, but he has done significantly. He has surpassed, people's expectation, you know, because the president took a stand for Africa. You know, since the days of Kwame Nkrumah, Azikiwe, we haven't seen where a leader of an African nation is advocating for the entirety of Africa. You know, President Olusegun Obasanjo did that too, to a reasonable extent, but it is encouraging to see President Tinubu standing for the entire continent. You know, he made a case for Africa at the UNGA. And then coming to Addis Ababa, the African Union conference, the president did phenomenally. At ECOWAS, where he is the chairman, we have seen him take the lead of the sub-region, you know, the sub-regional interest of encouraging democracy, of putting steps towards the flourishing of democracy around the sub-region. He has taken the lead in that direction, and he is doing very well. He is meeting with, even surpassing expectations. I have recently interacted with, a sister from another ECOWAS region, country, And we have reasons to be proud that our president about this time is the chairman of that regional organization. And he's not just chairman, he's defining leadership. You know, I would give him above pass in being chairman so far, and we have just seen it started. He is going to be chairman for a year and more. So we are going to expect that more are going to follow. I mean, in the direction of encouraging democracy, of putting steps towards ensuring that the institutions of democracy within the ECOWAS region and the entirety of Africa is sustained. So President Tinubu is giving quality leadership, and we would encourage Nigerians and the rest of Africans, you know, to give him the needed support.